Okay, hello algebra class. I'm going to attempt to try and teach you how to factor using a little bit different method than what we had talked about before. This is called the slip and slide method. This will go with factoring trinomials with a greater than 1. First of all, I think you need to know what standard equation of quadratic looks like. So what we're talking about is ax squared plus bx plus c. That's the trinomials that we've been talking about as far as our factoring goes. All right, so the rest of this chapter, the rest of this unit is still continuing on with factoring. Unfortunately, we got caught off right in the middle of this, probably one of the more difficult sections that we do all year. So we got a good start on it in the last few weeks as far as the number of worksheets that you had to do. And we were learning a different topic every single day. We're just going to pick right back up with that. We'll try and give you a lesson or two per week, because that's pretty much what you would have done anyways. I'll try and post a video on Monday and Wednesday, or a couple on Monday, and try and have stuff due on Friday. When we get to a test or quiz, I'll figure out how to put those on there later, but that'll be coming here in the next probably week or two. So our standard equation form is ax squared plus bx plus c. And if you see we have an example, if you can't see this, let me know. It's 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. To remember what we have done before, so if we just have a simple x squared plus 3x plus 4, and remember that we had just did our parentheses. We knew that x times x was x squared, and we're looking at the FOIL problem that makes this as our answer. And x times x is x squared. We know the last term times the last term has to be equal to the last term here. So we're looking for, to change that to a minus real quick, we're looking for factors of -4 that are going to add up to 3. So as I think about this, I'm like, oh, well, 2 and 2 makes 0 or 4. I'm looking for 3. So I knew that my 4 times 1 was equal to 4. And if I made this a plus and that a minus, I would have x times x would be x squared. The inside terms there would be a -1x. The outside terms there would be a positive 4x. And when you combine like terms, those add up to 3. And -1 times 4 is -4. So this became the FOIL problem that would give this as our answer. Well, we're going to do something similar like that, except now there's going to be a number in front of the x squared. Now, if we look at the numbers 2x squared, 5x, and 3, none of those divide by a common factor, say a 2 or a 3 or a 5. They're relatively prime with everything. So how do we do this? Well, there are going to be some people that are probably going to look at that and go, all right, well, if I do that and put a 2x and x, because that makes 2x squared, where can I put the 3 and the 5 to kind of make this work? And they'll be able to come up with their heads. And that's perfectly okay. There's going to be other people that aren't able to do this in your head. So what we're going to do is the slip and slide method, or as Ms. Fay calls it, the X. So the X kind of looks like a big giant X. What we do is that we take the first term times the last term, that's a times c, and we write it up here. So if our problem is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3, then I'm going to put 2x times 3, or 6x squared up there in the top. The bottom is going to be the b term, or the middle term, which in this case is 5x. So now I start thinking, what are my terms, what are my factors of 6 that add up to 5? Well, gee, factors of 6 that add up to 5. Let me think. 2 times 3. So if I put my 2 there and my 3 there, I would have 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Now, remember that term, that number that I multiplied by? That was my 2, the one that slipped over to the other side. I'm going to now slide that underneath each term. So now this becomes 2 over 2 and 3 over 2. I've reduced those terms. That is 1 over 1, and that one doesn't reduce. Now watch how this works. I'm going to take whatever's on bottom and make that my first term, and what's on top becomes my second term. So 3 over 2 becomes 2x plus 3, and 1 over 1 becomes x plus 1. Again, 3 over 2 becomes 2x plus 3, 1 over 1 is x plus 1. So now if I FOIL all that out, I should get what I started with. So 2x times x is 2x squared, 2x times 1 is 2x, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 1 is 3. If I combine like terms, 2x squared plus 5x plus 3, that's what I started with, so that would be my final answer. I'm going to do another one like that. So if we have 5m squared minus 17m plus 6. So if I start over here with my x, let's erase the whole thing. And again, if you need to pause, rewind, watch parts of this over again, you're more than welcome to. It's posted on YouTube, so that way you can see it as much as you want. I know my beautiful face, but I'm going to do AC times 3, or 8 times the C. That goes on top. So I'm going to do 5m squared times positive 6, which is 30m squared. That has to add up to negative 17m. So I'll be looking for things that multiply together to get 30 and adds up to be negative 17. Yes, you're still going to have to know your multiplication facts. So I'll have to think about things that multiply together to get 30 and add up to be 17. Well, if you just start a list, 1 and 30. Can 1 and 30 make 17? No. Does 2 go into 30? Yeah, 15 times. Can 2 and 15 make 17? Sure they can. If I have a negative 2 and negative 15. That totally works. They multiply together to get 30. They add up to be negative 17. Well, remember, the slide part of it is I'm going to take that first number, which is 5, and I'm going to put it on bottom and reduce those fractions. Well, negative 2/5 does not reduce, but negative 15 over 5 does reduce to negative 3 over 1. So now I have my two parentheses. Remember, I take what's on bottom. I have the 5x minus 2, and my negative 3 over 1 becomes 1x minus 3. I could check that. 5x times x, all right, well, I guess they're supposed to be m's, but whatever. 5x squared, and then 5x times negative 3 would be negative 15x, negative 2 times x, and negative 2 times 3, and you can see where that would be combined to be negative 17x, which matches my middle term. So there's my factorization. Oh, poop. So I'm going to have to, hold on a second. All right, there we go. My next term is going to be 6y squared minus 5y minus 4. I'll do another example here. So again, I take my first term times my last term. 6y squared times negative 4 is negative 24y squared, and my middle term is negative 5y. So I'm looking for terms, factors of 24 that add up to 5. Well, I go through 1 times 24. No, that doesn't work. How about 2 times 12? Can 2 and 12 make 5? No. Okay. Does 3 go into 24? Yeah. 3 times 8 is 24. Can I get that to be 5? Sure I can. If I have maybe a negative 8 and a positive 3, that would add up to be negative 5. Multiply them together, I get negative 24. Remember, don't forget to do the slide part. So I'll put these both under 6, which was my first term. That's probably the part that people are going to forget. But take that first term and slide it under, and you still have to reduce fractions. So negative 8 over 6, both divide by 2. That's negative 4 and negative 3. 3 6 reduces to 1/2. So if my fractions are 1/2, that would be 2x plus 1. And negative 4/3 would be 3x minus 4. So there are my two factors. So if I do a 2x times 3, I do. There's Mrs. Fay. I actually called it the Mrs. Fay method.
Oh, nice.
Or the X method. They call it slip and slide on this.
Yep, slip and slide or multiply, divide, and slide.
You got it. So I'm going to check my answer now. See you later. 2x times 3x would be 6x squared. 2x times negative 4 would be negative, I'm going to change them to y. They're x's. 6x, and then 1 times 3 will be a positive 3x. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. So negative 8x plus 3x is going to be my negative 5, and it checks out. So these are all the factoring problems. I'm going to skip example 4 because I just gave you 3. It's called the slip and slide method or the X method. If you want to look it up somewhere else on YouTube, there's probably somebody better than me doing it, but that is my attempt to kind of show you the slip and slide. I'm going to post the next pages that go along with this. That will be your assignment. You need to do all the problems on that page and then submit them back to me. Probably the easiest method is to grab your phone, and if you have your phone, and if you have your email installed on your phone, like your school email, you could snap a picture of it and then upload it into, and just email it to me. However, I will try and, I've never shared or I did an assignment on Google Classroom, but I'll try and make it that way too, so then you can just turn it back in that way. So either way, you can turn that back into me. It'll be just like the other ones. Next time I'll be talking about grouping and how to do group factors. I'll try to have that video to you by Wednesday. And then everything will be kind of due on Friday. We'll only do 2 lessons this week, albeit they're a little bit more challenging. Be on the lookout for a con or 2 or 3 to go ahead and supplement your work. And then next week we'll get into kind of wrapping up the factoring section. So I hope this was beneficial for you, and I will get back with you on your next assignment. Let me know if you have any questions. Stay safe and have a good day.